Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the Baggies Podcast. Wherever you're listening, it's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and also YouTube. So wherever you're listening from, thank you for joining and welcome to the first ever episode of the Baggies Podcast. We've got lots to talk about in this episode. Firstly, we're going to be reviewing Sunday's topsy-turvy clash with Hull City, where in the end we prevailed victors and we won 4-2. It was more like a basketball match than a football match, but nonetheless, 3 points and 5 points clear of Brentford in third place, and still definitely in that automatic promotion race. We will also be looking ahead to Wednesday night's clash with Derby County, another game which is in desperate need of 3 points for the Baggies, as Brentford are really hotting on our heels. So we're going to be looking ahead to that game, giving for that. We're also going to be looking, I asked you guys on Twitter actually, where should Callum Morton go after loan from the Baggies? So we asked you guys where he should go, and we're going to be giving you the results from that poll. If you're new around, wherever you're watching from, but if you're on YouTube, make sure you leave a like on the video as well. But without this podcast,
The Baggies Podcast on YouTube, giving you the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. Join me every week for a new episode of the Baggies Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube.
So we'll start with the nice part of the week, which was our 2-0 victory against Derby County. A very good win overall, a nice performance, like quite a in terms of the neutral as well, because one that Derby dominated in possession with 59% of the ball. Derby dominated, but we had all the big chances. They didn't have a big chance at all. They just had all the ball. I mean, they had a lot of it, but they didn't know what to do with it. But we had a very good game in terms of creating chances, scoring, finishing off chances, something that couldn't be said for the game against Blackburn later on in the week, but eventually a very good game from the Baggies. Grady Dean Garner opened the scoring after 11 minutes when he rounded the keeper Ben Hamer and tucked him from a very tight angle. You had to say I didn't think he was going to score that, but in the end he did, and that put us 1-0 up. And then Dara O'Shea put in a near post header in the 76th minute to give us a 2-0 victory against Derby. And then Louis Sibley was sent off later on in the game, which has for Derby for violent conduct against Dara O'Shea, which has now been overturned rightly, I feel. If you look at the red card first, if you saw it like instantly, like as it was happening, you'd think that's a red card because you see he's moving his foot. But when you like sort of zoom in and you get a different angle on it, it looks like he's trying to pull his foot away. But when you saw it in the moment, it looked like he was throwing a kick at Dara. But yeah, rightfully so. It should have been a red card and shouldn't have been a red card, and it was rightly overturned. And it was a good 2-0 victory for the Baggies. On the whole, a very good game from the Albion, with Mateus Pereira again being the centre of everything. If you don't think this guy is the best player in the Championship, I don't know what to say. He is just a fantastic talent. Well, he hopefully won't be the best player in the Championship for long. He'll be one of the best in the Premier League, I feel. But he did such a good job against Derby, creating chances. Player rating of 8.5 in that match. He got an assist for that goal from Grady Dean Garner. From the goal from Dara O'Shea. Got 5 total shots, 26 accurate passes. 86% of his passes were successful, and 5 chances created. It was a stellar performance. Created the most chance in the match, that is, as well. Kamil Grosicki as well, playing a really good game. Assisting Grady Dean Garner. He also was creating chances left, right and centre. It was an overall really good performance. Another player I was really impressed with, Connor Townsend. He always steps up to the mark for me in the games that he's played this season. He's very underrated in terms of West Brom. People think Kieran Gibbs is a really good player and he is the best left back. I agree, Kieran Gibbs is the best left back, but surely Connor Townsend got to be very close to him now. I feel Connor Townsend, 24 appearances this season, 17 starts, and he's impressed on virtually everyone. He tackles. He's so aggressive in his tackling, and he's so determined to win the ball. Reminds me a bit of Andy Robertson with his playing nature and things like that. But I believe that Connor Townsend is a really good left back, and I really do hope that we keep him, in around the squad in the if we go to the Premier League, because I feel like he'll add a lot more to our squad and a lot of good squad depth. If you've got that quality of player, sort of as your secondary left back or something like that. Now let's move on to look at Derby's performance from the game. I mean, Louis Sibley getting sent off, as I've discussed already. At the present time of the game, I said that was a sending off 100%. But when they started zooming in and putting some different camera angles into it, I didn't think so at all. I thought it was he was trying to get his leg out of the way of Dara, because Dara had his legs. But yeah, it was definitely the right decision to do, and definitely the correct thing, in my opinion. Wayne Rooney as well. Talk about the Rooney show on Sky Sports. They didn't tell the commentator in the Sky game was getting on my nerves a bit. It was all Rooney. As soon as Rooney went off, I feel like the commentator may as well packed up his things and gone home. But we contained Rooney quite well. It was obvious what we wanted to what they wanted to do. It was Rooney just wanted to sit back, play that quarterback role, which we know he wants to do, and he wasn't able to. Because we closed him down, got players around him, made sure that he was marked at all times. I thought Carnu did an excellent job when he came on. When he came on the pitch with 31 minutes to go, I thought he did a really good job of closing him down. But on the whole, it was a really good performance from the Baggies. I thought we played the game very well. Derby obviously wanted to keep the ball, obviously wanted to keep possession, but I feel like in that first half they looked a little uncomfortable on the ball, Derby, when playing it around the back. And I feel if we added a bit more pressure towards them and started putting a bit more pressure on and started sort of upping the intensity of our pressing, I think that we may have got a few more goals out of the game, because they didn't look comfortable throughout that first half, but they were allowed to get into the game because of perhaps we didn't press as hard as we could. But nonetheless, a good 2-0 win, a solid performance. Of course, Higazi was suspended for this particular game after picking up that second yellow card in the game against City, so it was a shame that he was missing. But Bartley, I thought, stepped in quite well. Bartley and Semi Ajayi, of course, coming in and doing a good job in that centre-back pairing. And a very good 2-0 win, and we'll move on to the game against Blackburn. So not the best game and not the result that we were hoping for against Blackburn, unfortunately. Not what we would have liked at all. Finished 1-1. Goal from Filip Krovinovic. Beautiful assist from Charlie Austin, chipping the ball over to the back post for Filip Krovinovic, who finished home neatly. Then Joe Rothwell, ball pulled back to him on the box, at the edge of the box, and the ball was planted in. It's just frustrating because we did have quite a lot of chances. But then you could say Blackburn had more. Blackburn had more big chances because the end of the game was so open and so able to exploit the Albion at the back, due to the fact that we desperately needed to win. The possession was 50-50, showing that we failed to truly control the game. But it's just a difficult one to take. I mean, 18 shots from us, 7 for Blackburn, 16 chances created from the Baggies, 7 for Blackburn, 4 big chances for Blackburn, 3 big chances for us. We just did. I feel like there was an element of complacency with the amount of chances that we missed, the amount of shots that we failed to put away. It was just not the game for West Bromwich Albion. As for my man of the match was Phil Krovinovic. Could even go for Christian Wolfson in the other goal. I feel like he had an excellent game as well. But you have to talk about the amount of chances that West Brom missed. And I also feel the need to talk about Lewis Travis. How was he still on the pitch by the end of the game? If you have a look at how many, he got 4 fouls in that game, got 1 yellow card, was going around the pitch, fouling everybody. I felt like it was a bit ridiculous, if I'm being completely honest, how he ended up still on the pitch. Plenty of fouls given away. Twitter were going mad about him. He could have easily gone in that game, and it's pity that the ref didn't actually take a. I think Lewis Travis is actually quite a good player, but he didn't. He let himself down a bit in that game and didn't look too great. But as for the towards the end of the game, when the game was so open, we were absolutely chucking men forward like there was no tomorrow. I mean, I know we needed a goal and I know we needed a win. Surely you'd rather have 1 point than 0. I mean, we're lucky that we did end up with 1 point. Two one-on-one opportunities. A back heel from Sam Gallagher cleared off the line. A one-on-one from Lewis Holtby, saved by Sam Johnston. It was such a strange game, and one towards the end of the game that you would not like to look back on, because they were just absolutely all over the place at the back. Sending people forward like it was some sort of sudden death scoring opportunities. But yeah, I know we needed the win, but that was a bit too far, putting all those men forward. But yeah, the draw takes us 3 points clear of Brentford with only 3 games to play. It's going to be a rocky road, and one that is not going to be good for the nerves of West Bromwich Albion fans. Leeds look to be up. I have to respect Leeds, I'm afraid. I know a lot of people might not like this, but I have to think, well done Leeds. I feel they deserve to go up. They've had so many close calls over the past few years. Last year being the closest, I suppose, but they've had so many close calls over the year, and I feel like they do deserve a promotion. Now I feel it's their time to go up, and you have to credit them because Marcelo Bielsa's created this strong defence, and they look fantastic. I mean, they look really good, and they do deserve this promotion. You have to credit them. Brentford, you'd probably say they deserve promotion. I would like it to be via the playoffs because I feel we deserve to go up. We deserve to go up by automatic. I just feel like we need to sort our heads out, and we need to look ahead to the next game. We need to not worry about that Blackburn game. We need to just look and see that Fulham game for exactly what it is, which is a huge clash and one that can't be lost at any point, and it needs to be won. Needs to be won in all cases. But in the case of the game on a whole, rather than the last 10 minutes alone, you'll feel like it's more 2 points lost than a point gained. But on the bright side, I mean, there's a lot of pessimists in the West Bromwich Albion fan community at the moment who are a bit worried, rightfully so. It's a very difficult situation at the moment. We find ourselves in such a different circumstance to the ones that we've been in before. We do deserve to go up, and hopefully it'll turn the test of time. At the moment, we have won our last 2 home championship matches, as many as they won in their previous 9 matches as the Hawthorns. So we're on a fresh run of form, I suppose. But we'll see which we'll see if we really do want this promotion, which I'd hope that we do, and I'd hope that we are so very up for it. It's hopeful that we'll get this victory against Fulham, but we're going to move on to talk more about this game against Fulham in a second. So tomorrow it's the huge game against Fulham, and one that we have to win. It's no mucking around now. It is a huge game. A game that was drawn 1-1 back in September when we played them. One that Semi Ajayi scored an equaliser after Anthony Knockout. Changed a lot since then, I guess. I mean, we've got more points on the board, definitely, but we've started to progress more as a team, and hopefully this game will result in a win for us. Tom Kearney looks to be out with a knock. Jonathan Lecco, obviously, for the Albion, and Kieran Gibbs out with hamstring and a cruciate ligament injury, respectively. Fulham have won their last 4 matches, though. That's not a nice stat to look at. You don't want anything to go down in that direction if you're a Baggies fan. We've scored in each of our last 4 matches, along with Fulham. Both teams scoring in the last 4 matches. West Brom has scored 7 goals in their last 3 matches, while Fulham has scored 4. Fulham haven't drawn in their last 4 matches as well, so it's going to look to be one that's going to have to be won by one team. It's at the Hawthorns. And Fulham, let's have a look at their last few games. We'll have a look at the game against Cardiff, which they won 2-0. Mitrovic scored a penalty. Josh Onomar, in which they tried to dominate possession, created chances. Fulham will look to come at us in this game. I know they will, but we have to sort of counteract that and try and get chances, not only on the break, but just in general, trying to carve out opportunities and stop that flow of Fulham positivity almost. If you get what I mean, a lot of it will be pressure on us. But we're going to have to ride that pressure and create our own opportunities. It'll be interesting to see what the lineup is. I think we'll go with something similar to the game against Blackburn. I'd hope Grady is able to start if he can, hopefully. It'll be interesting to see who goes up front, because Charlie did look a bit burnt out, I suppose, in that game against Blackburn. I feel like maybe, perhaps give Harold Robson-Kanu another chance. I'd love to see Kenneth Zohor come back in at least onto the bench. I feel he's been a little unfairly left out of the side at times. He's only had 5 starts and he scored 3 goals in those 5 starts. I mean, he's had a lot of time coming off the bench, I'll give you that, but I feel like if you paid that much money for a player, you have to give him a bit more opportunity than only 5 starts in the season. But if you think about it in a more positive light, if we just keep winning, then Brentford have no chance of catching us. If we just win these last few games, then they've got no chance of catching us at all. We just have to go out there and give our best against Fulham and indeed the remaining other games, because we got a game against Huddersfield next, then it's QPR. I think they're both on telly, aren't they? I feel like they're both on telly. It's going to be such a huge game, such a huge couple of games. And Brentford, they don't look like they're going to be resting up at all, because they've been going non-stop since the Premier League was since the Championship came back. They haven't lost, and they've won every single one. So they're obviously in the running to come and get some victories. They got Preston, Stoke, and Barnsley, which are not nice transfers to be giving a go. Not nice games to be playing, but one that could easily be won. I feel we could win. I feel we could win the ones that we've got. And if they win the other ones, then that's fine. Just let them carry on chasing shadows. Because if we keep going ahead of them, then they're not going to be able to gain any ground on us. And hopefully that will remain the case. And hopefully we're going to get a safe and lovely promotion to the Premier League automatically. The jackpot of the playoffs is not something you want to rely on at all. It's something that you want to just. You don't want to have to fall back on that. You want to have the security of automatic promotion, and hopefully we can. And Slaven says that I've just seen his tweet saying Slaven says that we're going to stick together by being together and helping each other. We're going to be brave and face that pressure. I feel like I'm just getting so nervous thinking about it actually, but hopefully that we go out and we get that win and we go and keep winning the games, and hopefully we can go up in style as West Bromwich Albion in the Premier League, hopefully. Alongside Leeds it looks like, but hopefully we're going to be up in the Premier League as soon as possible. So if you have enjoyed this episode of the Baggies Podcast, make sure to go and drop a like on it. Make sure if you're on YouTube, drop a like, subscribe. If you're on Spotify podcast, give it a follow, give it a download, whatever you guys do to access your podcasts. Just go and show some podcast some support. Obviously, my Twitter is always available at the Baggies Pod, so you're available to go and speak to me on there. You know, I'm always available to answer questions or anything you may have about the podcast. So hopefully you guys can give us some help over on the Twitter. Obviously your support has been amazing so far on the podcast, and hopefully you can come and support us again and give us a bit more support, and hopefully West Brom will secure that beautiful promotion to the Premier League. But thank you all for your support and your continued support on the podcast over the last week, and hopefully we can have some more. We'll see you next time on the Baggies Podcast. Goodbye.
The Baggies Podcast on YouTube, giving you the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. Join me every week for a new episode of the Baggies Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube.